Hi everybody, Mr. Alex here, and in our third video for Google Forms, we're going to be talking about organizing your form up a bit. So in our video, we're going to be talking about changing the way your form looks, making different sections for your form, some of the different options of forms, and also sending it out to other people. So let's get started with the first goal, which is changing the theme. So when you have your form created for the first time, it's purple. And if you'd like to make it look different, you have this button up here. It looks like an art palette. And you can click it and choose any color that you like. So it's still basically one solid color. You can also click that and choose this little mountain, picture of a mountain. And they have some different themes. Okay, so I'm doing something about TV. So let's see, TV. Don't really see anything about TV here. I guess that maybe the microphone is like a TV about a concert. Okay, I'll just choose that one. So it thinks for a minute and it actually changed the colors of my form to match the colors of the photo. Pretty cool. Let's try one more. Let's try clicking that. Let's try just this picture of a flower. So the picture of the flower is purple, so I have a feeling this is going to be purple as well. Looks good. Cool. So I'm going to just leave it at this. It doesn't really matter what we choose. Just choose one that you think is best for your form. The next one says putting your form into different sections. So you can see I have one huge section. It's kind of like one big brick. But if I wanted to break these up, there is, come back. There we go. I just clicked over here to bring this thing back up to the top. So this is where I can input many different things. So we played with the question button before. We can actually add titles and descriptions, this kind of thing. We can add pictures, videos, and last one that I wanted to talk to you about is the section button. So let's try clicking that. So you can see when I click that, it brought up this little thing in the corner. It says section 1 of 2. So the first out of 2. And the next one, section 2 of 2. And it says underneath, after finishing the first section, what do you want to do? So we can actually choose where we take people after they finish this section. And I'm going to just say, you know what, go to the next section. Just continue to the end. I recommend doing that. But if you're a pro user and you would like a challenge, why don't you try playing with some of these other things and see what they can do. Often when I'm doing forms, what I do is I'll make a couple sections. My first section is always getting kind of the bio data of my users. So to add something to a section, let's click where we want to add it. And I'm going to say add a new section, add a new question to that section. So my bio data that I ask of my users, I usually say, what is your name? And I'll make that a short answer. So people can write anything. They can write cheese. But for the most part, people take it seriously and they write their actual name. The next question I'll add usually is something so I can start to collect information and try to understand why people answered the way they did. And that'll be in the next video that we discuss that a little bit further. So I might say, what is your gender? Okay, so it also is used to that, so I can actually say add all. So people might say female, male, or they might say that they prefer not to say, maybe they're uncomfortable with it, or they might like to define their gender themselves. This is a big thing happening in 2018. You might have seen this kind of transgender topic being used in the news today. So we can be respectful to our respondents by letting them almost define their characteristics themselves. So that does actually take a bit of maturity on our students' behalf and a little bit of open-mindedness. Okay, so after I ask about name, gender, I might also ask if I'm talking to students, what grade are you in? Pretty cool. It thinks I'm talking to high school, so we have freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. I'm going to change this to middle school. So I'm going to choose multiple choice, cool, and I'm going to do my 3 different middle school options. And in the last video, do you remember that I mentioned that working with numbers is going to save you? Let's try to use this kind of answer as much as possible. You're going to be really impressed in the next video what you can do with this type of thing. Okay, so I have name, gender, grade. I might want to say, how old are you? So I think our youngest middle school students might be 10, so we might say 10, 11, 12, 13, and if I wanted to include high school, I'd probably say 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and let's just say 19 just to be safe, because if I had a 19-year-old and they didn't have that option, that would be terrible. And along those lines, why don't I just go ahead and add 9 too? I don't think we're going to have any 9-year-olds answering, but just in case, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Because I'm imagining that this is going to be used for middle and high school. Okay, that looks pretty good. So my first section, let's preview what that might look like if I was actually designing this. So TV shows. What's your name? Okay, so I'll actually fill this out. So I'll say Alex. What is your gender? I'll say male. What grade are you in? I'll pretend like I'm in 8th. And how old are you? Well, hey, I'm 34, but I'll pretend like I'm a student. I'll say I'm 16. Cool. So now when I click next, it's going to send me to that next section that asks me about the questions. Very cool. I'll just close that with my fake responses. Okay, so I think I'm okay with the kind of bio data that I'm collecting about my users. Later in our next video, we're going to organize their responses from our users, and we're going to be able to kind of try to understand what people said based off of this information. Okay, so let's go to our goals. So we have our third, and we're almost at the end. We're going to talk about form options. Okay, so up in the corner we have this little cog. It's like a wheel that's in a watch or in a clock. So let's click that. And we can see we have some settings. We have these 3 different options here. So under settings, I always do this. I say collect email addresses. I'm going to just click save and come back in a sec. Do you remember that I asked what people's names were? You'll find that when you collect people's email addresses, that they'll answer their name correctly, because you can actually see their email address and you know who it is. So I like to just double up and make sure that they answer their name correctly by collecting their email addresses. The next one says response receipts. That means that they'll get an email that says, thank you for filling out the TV survey. The next one says requires sign-in. I usually do this as well. So this one says restrict means limit. So only American International School students may answer it. Yes, I only want students to answer this. I don't want people from ISHMIC or BIS to answer this. Only AIS, people with AIS usernames. The next one that I usually choose is also limit to 1 response. I want 1 person to write it 1 time. So it knows when you have that email address, you can only write 1 answer. Cool. I don't want somebody messing with my information by answering it many different times. My next option, respondents, meaning the people who are writing the survey. Can they change it after they send their answers in? Yes, that's fine with me. You can change it at any time. I just want you to do 1 answer only. So I'd like to check both of these 2 options. The last one is see summary chart and text responses. No, I think I'm okay. I think I don't want people to know what others are saying. I don't want to influence them and have them go back and change it to see, what was a popular answer. So I'm not going to check that one. Okay, let's go back to the top menu. We have presentation. I liked to do this one usually in my classes. It says show progress bar. So at the bottom of our survey, it's going to show you're on page 1 out of 2 or something like that. So it kind of helps people feel like it's not too long and too boring. And you can shuffle in 1 section. Remember we did those sections. So the first one was like the data about the people that are taking it. If you want to mix them up into a different order, you can. I don't really want to do that this time. And confirmation message. You can write a little message. Thank you very much for taking the survey. We really appreciate it. Or something like that. Cool. Let's go to the last one. It says quizzes. So as a teacher, I like to do little quizzes with my students to just kind of check their understanding of some of the ideas we talk about. If you want to do this, maybe you're doing a presentation in one of your classes and you want to quiz your class and see how much they understood, make it a quiz. And you can give them back their grade immediately after they submit. Let's go ahead and leave that one checked. And after they submit, when they see their results, can they see the missed questions? So they'll see like a red X. Can they see the correct answer? They'll see a green check. And can they see how many points it's worth? Yeah, that's fine. So you can click Save. For today, I'm not going to do a quiz, so I'm going to turn that back off. So I'll click Save. Cool. So our final part to this video today is how we're going to send the form to other people. That's actually up here, this gigantic button that says Send, believe it or not. So when we click that, we can choose to send via email, or we can choose this little link. And it gives you this long, awful link, which is just awful and confusing looking. Why don't we just click this thing that says shorten URL, and much nicer. So I'll click copy and close that. So now I can go to Facebook, I can go to Google Classroom, or anywhere else, and I can send that to people I would like to take my quiz. Let's try pasting it. So if I put that into my address bar up at the top, look at that. Now it shows your email address, Alex McMillan, will be recorded when you submit this form. Is that not you? Let's switch accounts. No, that's me. So now we can type all of our answers. I'm Alex, blah, 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 blah. Okay, and now there's this other little option down at the bottom that says page 1 of 2. Remember that progress bar? So we can click next. And now we can answer, I like Bleach, the Japanese anime. How often do you watch TV? And submit. Cool. Now, do you remember we also said that people can edit, they can change their answers after they submit? Let's go ahead and click Edit Your Response. So you are editing your previous response. Be careful when sharing the URL of this page because it will allow others to also edit your response. Uh-oh. Okay, so we have to be really careful. Somebody might change my answers. We don't want that at all. Okay, so maybe I made a mistake and I wanted to change something like that. Like I was going too quickly. Okay, I'll say next. Everything else is correct. This is all good. And submit. Cool. All right. So that's the end of today's video. And in the next video, we're going to be analyzing people's responses. All right, guys. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.